Hi, Seema. Very well.
So, Rani, would you like to tell me first, what do you do? And before we get into the real masala, the intense part.
Seema, I am now a vegan food coach. I help people with planning their vegan meals. It brought a transformation in my own life. 7 years I've been researching and experimenting with vegan food as in whole food, nutritional food.
What do you think? Do you relate vegetarianism to karma or killing of animals? And, how do you relate the two?
See, I've been a hardcore non-vegetarian before.
Okay.
I'm not in a place to judge anybody, right? We have no answers to all the questions, but having grown up in the countryside, Seema, most of my questions came from nature, right? Actually, I've been working with animals from childhood. From the age of 5, I started bringing puppies and abandoned and injured animals home. And I'm 56 now, but about 7 years ago, a friend of mine who wasn't even an animal person or a vegan, he said, please call yourself a dog and cat lover. Don't call yourself an animal lover, because what gives you the right to spare one animal and eat another?
Right.
And my life changed after that. And I do talk to plants also. I actually talk to them. I've been talking to them from childhood. And so for me, it was, I totally was with the understanding plants also have life. But then I've come to understand everything has consciousness. Water has memory, your walls absorb energy, Seema. But the thing is, look at nature has its own intelligence. Plants don't get up and run away. They don't fight for their life, but animals do. They want to live till the very last breath. And apart from animals, actually scientifically, for more than 70 years, there has been proof that animal protein is the base of all the modern illnesses. Proof, scientific research data proof. If you don't have a connect with animals, then please do it for yourself. Do the research for yourself and your family and your kids, because that's far as most people think to that extent. But even in that limited perspective, it makes a lot of difference.
So when you say that the protein in animal food causes diseases, what do you think? It's just karma? You're killing, you're causing pain, and that pained body is entering your body.
Everything in the universe is energy. Everything has a frequency. What is dis-ease? Is absence of ease. And most of our diseases happen when something in our body is not at ease. And most of the stress toxins are caused in a state of pressure. Now there's animals. They know what's going to happen. They see the other people being killed. They are tortured. They are, don't even ask. I don't want to go there. But that torture, that suffering, that terror, that fear, that heartbreak, that frustration, that hopelessness, that wanting to live is ingrained on a cellular level. And that does affect. And all that is embedded, and we are consuming that. So that is one thing. But also, everything has an effect scientifically. Okay, I'm a very science-oriented person, so for me, when I read things, I've learned to understand things right from childhood. I was a rebel. I wanted to understand things for myself. And if you look at universe, look at the laws of nature. Every result has a consequence.
Right.
Action, everything has a reaction.
Right.
So whatever it sets off something, and there's always a circle, and things come back. Sometimes they come back in a way we understand, Seema, and sometimes they come back in a way we do not understand, because we're living in a three-dimensional world. And we have begun to believe that this is all there is, and people live like they are going to live here forever. They see people dying every day, but people say that the artificial intelligence will come and robots will come and zombies will come. It's already here. These are the zombies thing. We are the highest AI in artificial intelligence that can ever be created. Our bodies are the most wonderful mechanisms ever. And for us to live under a veil, to forget our sacred, our ancient powers, our own divinity, there cannot be a more intense state of zombiness than that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that is the reason this platform came, so that people like you who know or who are aware, who are more enlightened, then that is the message through me might be going out. That just get up. The coronavirus, I think lots of people started becoming aware of deaths. Like you're saying that people feel they're never going to go, but there was some kind of a push there in that direction. Do animals also reincarnate? Do you think so? They have a soul. Because they know, they feel pain, they die. So are there animal souls also?
Yes, in fact, I myself was surprised because I'm into animal rescue and rehoming, and there were these two Dachshunds that were abandoned by an Iranian student who left the country. And it is an unusual thing for them to say, Rani, if you don't take this in, we're going to leave them on the road, because they know. And so I had these two Dachshund babies, and then one of them was adopted by a gentleman called Tom Kodanda, and he was working at the Pune Tough Club, okay? And he named that little Dachshund boy as Bolt. This dog, won over his wife's heart. Actually, she didn't like dogs so much. She had no exposure. He became like, whenever they used to even have an argument, he would go to Som's room and bark, bark, bark there and run to the wife's room and kind of say, come and talk to mommy types, And they had gone out for a small little vacation. They kind of didn't find him. They searched for him everywhere. And they found his body. He had been gored to death by a wild boar.
In Pune?
Yeah, it was a little away in the countryside, their place. And they were heartbroken, of course. And soon his wife was found to be pregnant. And the date coincided with this little dog's dying. The little baby's name has a middle name known as Bolt. Som did an interview on something like this, and he mentioned this to me. Yeah, that's what he believes, that the dog was born.
Reborn.
As his.
Oh, fantastic.
And if you look at the pictures, I'll give you his contact. You just look at the pictures, the eyes. You will not. And many times also, I receive messages from departed, animals for their parents, for the human parents, animals who have gone away sometimes. Yeah, so they do reincarnate. And you know what, after all, Seema, we think we are very evolved, very enlightened. But tell me one thing, which dog or cat have you seen make a elevator pitch or a presentation or boardroom, a strategy to sell a pen or pencil? It's only we human beings who have to endeavor so much for everything. We don't get much done without frills and fancies. But animals, they will only open their mouth when required, and they will open it. They do speak with their voice, with their gestures, with some sounds whose frequencies sometimes we don't hear.
Right.
But when they talk, it's for a reason. So I think, as people get older, like the sadhus and all, they don't talk much. So I just feel animals have already gotten there.
Maybe they are more evolved than we are, Like you said, they don't need to go out and strive for happiness.
For me, I've lived with animals and I've been with animals for 50 years now. And one of the core reasons I believe really that I am a channel is just because I've been in the company. In fact, I think I need to learn more life lessons than most people, but I think being with animals, just kept the clutter out. I think I am more like them.
But every second person I know is an animal lover, and they give up non-vegetarian also. So, you said that you are you feel and you are like a channel, a medium. Was that by accident, or was that something that you worked on?